Morant with a running start. Elevate! Oh, it dunks! Oh, my goodness!
Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn. His heat is gone! Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining.
Conley now with three. Count it! A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance.
Adams going long. Morant! He hit it! John Morant! Insanity!
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. This was supposed to be a Grizzlies win edition for the Saturday road victory against the Mavericks, but life got in the way. I was unable to record on Monday, and then on Monday night, the Grizzlies took on the Denver Nuggets. That game did not go horribly, but it did not result in a Grizzlies win. Also, notably, Zach Edey left that game and did not return with some mysterious head injury, and we don't know the status of him. We were supposed to have a very fun Zach Edey, massive impact. Look at all those screens and how he's moving everybody around. This was coming off that Mavs win, but we will talk about both of those games on today's episode. Before we do, just a reminder, if you want to support the creation of this show, if you want to get access to my exclusive listener Slack channel, that's at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Big thank you to Chip for re-upping with me for another year. So if you want to support this show, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Zach Edey did make a big impact against the Dallas Mavericks. He had a huge game with 15 rebounds, 7 of them on the offensive glass. He had 4 blocks, 12 points, was 8 of 8 from the free throw line. There were numerous examples of the two-man game between he and Vince Williams Jr. Vince Williams Jr. had another excellent game filling in for Ja Morant. Vince got a double-double with 10 points and 10 rebounds and picked up 6 assists. I feel like Santi's impact is maybe being slightly overlooked in these games. Yes, the past 5 games, and this even includes the loss to the Nuggets where Zach Edey only played 6 minutes, the defense is markedly improved. A lot of that, I think, speaks to the impact of Zach Edey and the minutes that he has been playing. The impact of Edey, of course, felt really strongly in that Mavericks win. They held the Mavericks just 96 points, meaning they put together a win streak with the win over the Kings and then the win over the Mavericks. And in both of those games, they held their opponent to 96 points. That's back-to-back games where your opponent fails to score at least 100 points. That's back-to-back games without Jaren Jackson Jr. Also, of course, without Ja Morant. What does that mean, if anything? Santi Aldama, starting for Jaren, had some huge performances, huge offensive performances. He had a career-high tying 29 points in that win over the Kings. He followed that up with 20 points against the Mavericks. While I think we're drawn to the impact of Zach Edey and the story of what Zach Edey is doing and how his return has helped the Grizzlies on the court, I don't think we get the win, or it's all crucial. The play of Zach Edey is crucial, but you still don't get the win if Santi Aldama doesn't do what he's been doing. You don't get the win if Vince Williams Jr. is doing what he's doing. All of it, I think, working in tandem, while Edey, I think, rightfully getting the headlines. We don't want to overlook how well Santi Aldama is playing. He returned to the bench in the Nuggets game. He didn't have a great shooting night, only 5 out of 16 from the field. Missed all 5 of his three-pointers. Did finish with 12 points. Also got 2 steals and 2 blocks and 6 assists. So even though the shot wasn't falling like it had been for Santi, he made his presence felt in this game. Santi has now scored in double digits in 12 straight games. That is a career best streak. His previous best streak of double-digit scoring games before this was 5. So he's blown that out of the water. Santi is averaging a career-high 14 points per game right now. Also a career-high in rebounds, close to 7 per game. And that's still without shooting the three-pointer that well so far. Just like a sixth of the way into the year, he's down around 31%. But the Grizzlies fought hard to win this road game against the Mavericks. Also, I would highlight in that game the performance of Cam Spencer off the bench. Cam Spencer had 17 points and 5 assists. He actually played a lot of the fourth quarter minutes over Vince Williams Jr. as a huge Vince Williams advocate. I was getting a little bit antsy that Vince didn't come back into the game until the final minute. But it was a very encouraging, exciting win for the Grizzlies as, of course, they put together the tiniest of win streaks. They win this game on the road, and they do it both games without Jaren Jackson Jr. Now this showdown with the Nuggets, you have Jaren returning. And in a somewhat eerily similar way to when Zach Edey returned, Ja Morant only made it 6 minutes into that Cavaliers game. So now Jaren finally comes back to play with Edey again, and Edey only makes it 6 minutes into the Nuggets game. You give the Grizzlies credit, I think, for hanging around in this game. The Nuggets made a ton of three-pointers, really dominated the game from the three-point line. The lead grew to 17 points early in the fourth quarter, but credit to the bench. The Grizzlies bench plus Jalen Wells went on a 12-0 run. Jock Landale heavily involved. Jock Landale had a massive game. He matched his career high with 26 points, had the first 20-10 game of his career. But the Grizzlies cut into the lead with a lot of those bench guys out there. And then when that run ended, when the Nuggets got going a little bit again, then you were kind of stuck with that situation where you were like, hey, wait a minute, why isn't Cedric Howard and Jaren Jackson Jr. in the game? Well, it's because they stuck with the bench guys. The starters were down 17. The bench guys went on the run. Maybe you could say when there was a stoppage with 3 minutes left, absolutely Jaren and Cedric should have been back in at that point with the team down 6. They still made the Nuggets sweat a little bit in the end. It took one of the best passes you'll ever see in your whole life from Jokic to finally finish off the Grizzlies. That unreal no-look, behind-the-back, left-handed pass where Peyton Watson slips behind the defense and catches it. Just otherworldly stuff, and the Grizzlies do not have enough to overcome the Nuggets. And a lot of this game, and a lot of, I think, issues with the Grizzlies' slow start to the season. Of course, we always go back to the roster and injury issues, the not having point guards, legitimate problem. But also, I think it's becoming more and more apparent how Jaren Jackson Jr. overall has not been playing that well. The number of explanations we've come up with, I think they're obvious. I don't think we're covering for him. The fact that he's getting double teamed a lot, maybe isn't a primary scorer. He's having to carry too much of the load, but I don't know if that totally explains sort of the lackluster play we've seen from him. You could say coming back from injury, these past 2 games, he wasn't maybe totally 100%. He tried to rush back because he's needed, absolutely needed. But the season-long numbers, and these could all be affected by him maybe physically not being perfect. Recovering from the off-season toe turf injury, surgery, and all of that. Maybe he's never quite gotten his full athleticism and bounce back. Against the Nuggets, he only had 16 points. He missed his first 7 3-pointers, but he's not really scoring in the paint. He's not really going by guys like we've seen him do, taking advantage of those mismatches. The 16 points is one thing. Single game plus minus is bad. People like me shouldn't use it. But I do feel like pointing out that he was a minus 27, and you felt it. And he's not really rebounding the best. And I do think there are some larger trends going on with Jaren that are worth addressing. he's not playing like an all-NBA type player. He's not playing like an all-star player. He's not defending like a multiple-time all-defense player. Right now, he is averaging, on a per-game basis, career lows in steals and blocks, also a career low in dunks. He has 4 dunks this season in 16 games, and he's also averaging a career high in offensive fouls. This is year 8 for Jaren. I know that because he changed his jersey number to tell me. It's year 8 for Jaren, and he is as bad as ever at committing offensive fouls and setting bad screens. He even had one of the more inexplicable fouls you will ever see at the end of the third quarter against the Nuggets. He fouls Jokic with 2.2 seconds left in the third quarter, 70 feet from the basket. This was Jaren's 4th foul. Zach Edey has left the game and is not returning. You're down one of your starting front court players. You have 3 fouls in the third quarter. Why did you reach out and grab Jokic 70 feet from the basket? Oh, and then, by the way, Jokic made a half-court shot after they got the chance to inbound the basketball with 2.2 seconds left in the third quarter. It bumped the lead from 5 to 8. I didn't think anyone could finish a quarter worse than what Gigi Jackson did against the Mavericks. Gigi Jackson checks in for the end of the third quarter and just double dribbles. He's like, maybe I shouldn't shoot a half-court shot. I'm not sure what to do. What if I just double dribble, give the ball back to the Mavericks so they can score? Jaren has not been superb this year. He hasn't even been good. It's been drowned out by Ja Morant, also not being good. And Ja did not get the chance, other than a couple of minutes, to play with Zach Edey. Maybe Ja would look way better with Zach Edey out there. But one of the big storylines for the Grizzlies, outside of the coaching change, outside of the injury issues, is the fact that your 2 highest paid players, your 2 all-stars, Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., have not been awesome this year. And what is going to change to get those guys awesome? If Zach Edey is the salve that's supposed to fix everything, well, cool. Good job, Zach Edey, but why aren't your all-star players better? Why do they need Zach Edey to perform at an all-star level? Some other concerning Jaren numbers. He's averaging just 1.7 deflections per game. And again, we're just talking about 16 games that he's played so far, so it's a small sample size. But those are the fewest deflections per game he's averaged since his rookie season. Also, he has his worst on-court net rating of his entire career. Right now, the Grizzlies are getting outscored by 11 points per 100 possessions when Jaren is on the court. His previous worst was -7 in the lost 2023-2024 season. So all of that, not great. Hopefully, Jaren is getting his athleticism back. He's building back up to where he was. He missed training camp because of the injury, was out for a lot of the preseason. Hopefully it's all rounding back into form. If I were more of a vocal critic of Jaren's, like I've been a huge supporter. I'm a proponent of Jaren Jackson Jr. I think he's awesome. I think he was amazing the last several seasons. Usually I feel like I'm the one defending Jaren at all times, but he's not been good this year. If I were a more vocal critic, though, I might point out this does feel maybe similar to things we see in other sports where this guy got paid. He got the massive extension, and all of a sudden he's not playing that well. That's a pattern that has repeated itself in pro sports. Hopefully, those two things are unrelated. Hopefully, Jaren still is working as hard as he ever did. Hopefully, he still is competing as hard as ever. But right now, one of the stories of the Grizzlies' slow start has been Jaren Jackson Jr. not playing as well as we've seen him play before. Now, in the Nuggets game, a guy who maybe played as well as we've ever seen him play before was Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells shook off his slow start to the season with a season-high 22 points. Also got 3 assists. had 5 rebounds, was 4 of 8 on his three-pointers. Jalen really delivered in this game. He moved past Kyle Anderson and Grayson Allen on the franchise leaderboard for made three-pointers. He's now up to 24th in Grizzlies franchise history in made three-pointers. If he makes 2 more three-pointers on Wednesday night, he will move past James Posey into 23rd place. Jalen Wells played really well, and so did Cam Spencer. Cam Spencer followed up his 17.5 assist performance against the Mavericks with an 18.4 assist game against the Nuggets. Cam played nearly the entire fourth quarter. This was a game where actually Vince Williams Jr., despite picking up 7 assists, he did not see the court in the final 9 minutes of the fourth quarter. Again, a lot of that was when Vince Williams Jr. checked out along with Cedric Coward and along with Jaren. The Grizzlies were giving up this run to the Nuggets and they fell down by double digits. And then it was this Cam Spencer, KCP, Jalen Wells, Santi Aldama, and Jock Landale lineup that got the Grizzlies back in the game. Eventually, Cedric and Jaren checked back in for Jock and KCP for the final 2 minutes, but too little, too late. Vince has not been making his shots of late, but he has been doing a very good job of running the offense. I also think you can credit the good rebounding and defensive numbers for the Grizzlies some to Vince Williams Jr. Like that was going to be the lead story for me after the Mavericks game, if I'd gotten to do a episode on Monday, just about the impact. It's just a few games, but the actual statistical impact of Zach Edey on the court. It still is very stark. Right now, the Grizzlies, they're 6-12. They still haven't beaten a team with a winning record since Tomas Isolo became head coach. Excuse me. They've beaten 1. They haven't beaten a team with a winning record at home. They're now 0-11 all-time at home under Tomas Isolo against teams that have a winning record. But after that Mavericks win, you're saying, look at the impact of Zach Edey, and you look at the stats right now. When Zach Edey is on the court for the Grizzlies, this is through 5 games. He played all of 4 of them, mostly. The Grizzlies are outscoring opponents by 21 points per 100 possessions, a plus 21 net rating. So they've won those 221 non-garbage time possessions by 46 points. They are rebounding 35% of their own missed shots, which is very good. That's a 92nd percentile when compared with all other lineups that have played at least 100 possessions. They are rebounding their opponent's misses at a 78% rate, which is in the 99th percentile. So they are rebounding really, really well with Zach Edey on the court. They're also not fouling. That has been a benefit to the Grizzlies. That's a reason why they're holding teams to lower scores. Now, Zach Edey has played most of his minutes with the same guys. Usually Vince Williams Jr. is out there with them. Usually Cedric Coward is out there with them. When all those guys are on the court together, the numbers are even better. They're outscoring the opponent by 22 points, just a little bit higher. 22 points per 100 possessions, also a 38% offensive rebound rate and a 79% defensive rebound rate. Those numbers went down a little bit just based on the 6 minutes they all played together against the Nuggets in the first quarter on Monday night. But so far, a lot of the proof of the Zach Edey either defenders or fans or the idea of the roster the Grizzlies have put together, you could point to this small sample size and saying, look, it's working. It's working. Now we just need Ja Morant to be back and to play well and to try hard. And we need Jaren to play up to his level, and it's all working because Cedric Coward has also been having a really nice season. Let's talk about what Cedric did in these last 2 games. We'll do that right after this quick break. All right, Cedric Coward has been having a really great rookie season, an undeniable bright spot for the Grizzlies so far, but the last 2 games were not 2 of his better offensive games. After having 7 consecutive double-digit scoring games, after putting up outstanding efficiency numbers through his first however many career games he played. He struggled from the field. He only had 9 points against the Mavericks on 3 for 11 shooting, only had 5 points against the Nuggets, was 2 for 6 from the field. He's 1 for 8 on 3-pointers the past 2 games. Did not get to the free throw line against the Nuggets, was 3 for 5 against the Kings. So we've seen a slight slowdown for Cedric the past couple of games, but I think part of that is going to be expected. He's not going to shoot 7 for 13 every game and score 18 or 19 points. So hopefully this is just a minor speed bump from Cedric, but we are still seeing the fact that when he's out there, the Grizzlies rebounding well and defending well. So Cedric continues, I think, being a huge bright spot. I'm not going out on any limbs by saying that. Also in the game against the Nuggets, KCP was 2 for 2 on 3-pointers. Hopefully a little revenge game playing against one of his former clubs. He had 8 points, and he has been trending up ever so slightly in the Mavs game. He had 10 points and was 2 for 4 from the 3-point line. So hopefully KCP continues to find the range. Also in the Mavs game, it was a chance for a Omax Prosper revenge game. Omax only scored 2 points, missed 7 of his 8 field goal attempts, but did have 7 rebounds. John Conchar against the Mavericks had 7 rebounds as well. The Grizzlies in that game, 23 offensive rebounds, a big part of the reason why they pulled out that close victory. Now, a couple of news items to wrap up the show. We got the Ty Jerome injury update, and truly, it turns out he is nowhere close to returning. That significant calf injury is going to keep him out for 6 to 9 weeks, meaning he maybe will return anytime between January 3rd and January 24th, meaning he's going to miss half the season. The other dates, as far as we know them right now, Ja Morant was supposed to be due for a reevaluation around December 1st. I think maybe he's not doing that well. And I'm inferring that based on the fact that they got another medical hardship exception. We know all about these things. So with Scottie Pippen Jr. and Ty Jerome and Brandon Clark all not close to returning, you just need a fourth person to be a couple of weeks away, and that lets you have the emergency hardship exception. And the Grizzlies did, in fact, use it. They signed Kobe Buffkin. Now, I know very little about Kobe Buffkin other than he got drafted by the Hawks. I think the Kobe Buffkin signing represents more of an upside gamble. This is a player who the Hawks essentially dumped. The Nets picked up something to take him on in the offseason, and the Nets, who stink and are rebuilding, waived him because they weren't interested in seeing if he could play basketball. So I don't think the idea is he's going to step in and help you. I think this might be some form of extended tryout, which I think is a fine usage of your emergency injury hardship exception or whatever the exact terminology is. So the Grizzlies signed Kobe Buffkin. This is because Ja Morant apparently not coming back for 2 more weeks. So we get to maybe have a look at Kobe Buffkin. But the dates as we have them. So let's imagine Ja Morant's reevaluation isn't happening on December 1st. We kick that out 2 weeks from now. We're talking about maybe December 8th. Okay, Ja Morant might come back December 8th or so. Brandon Clark, the earliest his window is supposed to open to return is right before Christmas. That would be 6 weeks from when they said 6 to 9 weeks. So maybe sometime between December 24th and January 13th, Brandon Clark could return. Then Ty Jerome maybe comes back early January if it's on the early end of the 6 to 9 weeks. And then mid-January is when we are expecting a Scottie Pippen Jr. reevaluation. So whatever dream, again, they had for this team this year, we haven't seen it at all, and we don't know when we're going to see Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen Jr. available alongside Ja, alongside Zach Edey. Hopefully all the players playing right now remain healthy until that point. The good news is, if you are focused on the postseason, is that making the play-in remains very, very attainable. How do I know that? Because if the season ended right now, you're in the play-in. By winning 2 of your last 3 games, you passed the Jazz. 6-12 puts you in 10th in the Western Conference. The teams chasing you are the Jazz, the Clippers, the Kings, and the Mavericks. Maybe the Pelicans are chasing you. They've been playing a little bit better, but I don't think the Jazz are actually chasing you. If the Grizzlies take care of their own business, they can still make the play-in, or they still will make the play-in. Now, their upcoming schedule, it's a road trip, but it's a very manageable road trip. You're playing those teams who are trying to also chase you and get in the play-in. The Grizzlies play at the Pelicans on Wednesday. Then they also play on this road trip the Clippers and the Kings. And then maybe a tougher game against the Spurs, but still maybe no Wembanyama in that game for the Spurs. So these are manageable road games. You scratch and claw and pick up a couple of wins. 2-2, man, 2-2 on this road trip. Let's take it. The schedule is lightening up just a little bit. You hopefully survive until Ja Morant can come back and Ja Morant can play some inspired, passionate basketball for the Grizzlies. That's the hope anyways. And Jaren Jackson Jr. will also play some much better basketball. And Zach Edey's head will be okay. TBD on the situation of that. And that is all we need to do for today. This will be the last episode of the week, I think. It, of course, is the Thanksgiving holiday. If nothing shocking happens, I don't think I'm going to record for the rest of the week, but who knows? If you do want to hear from me this week while I'm not recording, well, you can hear from me over in the listener Slack channel. I'm always available over there to talk about the Grizzlies and whatever else. If you want to sign up, join for $5 a month at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right. Thanks for listening. Have a great Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you soon. Go Grizz.